Well, we definitely feel very fortunate to come away with the weekend with 3 wins this week. And I talked about last week how this was going to be one of our toughest road swings, and it definitely proved to be that. I think a couple points just with the matches. I think Southern Illinois, like I talked about last week, it was going to be very difficult to have a game plan against them just because of the different players that they had coming in. And I would say, like, with our defense, I thought we did a really good job of defending and slowing down the people that we knew more about and a couple of their go-to players. But I thought we could have been a lot better with the kids that came in that we didn't know anything about. And there was actually 2 players that we hadn't seen at all on video, several that we saw just a little bit. And I just think our ability to adjust could have been a little bit better. I was really proud of our offense, the efficiency that we hit at. I think that's probably what kept us in the match and kept us to be able to win that match. But I thought Southern Illinois just put up a great fight, and you would never know that team hasn't won a match in the league. So a battle there. And then obviously turning over and Saturday night going to Missouri State. I feel like Missouri State is a hot team right now. They had a great match against Drake the night before, and another one of those teams that they have their 2 or 3 go-to players, but then they've had other people step up. The night before, their 2 go-to players, one hit 0, one hit negative. They were still able to beat Drake, so obviously they had some people do some things that maybe they don't normally do. So had a lot to prepare for in my mind just from watching that Drake match the night before. The first set, I think we won 25-11 maybe, and we definitely knew that was not how the match was going to go. And the next 4 sets definitely proved that and what a battle it was. But I think a couple things that stand out for that match, obviously we're very proud of our team and their ability to handle being down 14-11 in that 5th set and able to come back and win that 17-15. I do think, however, there were some missed opportunities, some missed executions throughout the match that probably wouldn't have put us in that position. So that's some of our evaluation as a whole. In that 5th set, Kate Buswitz, she went back to serve when it was 14-11, and she was a kid that I think was looking like, okay, are you going to put someone in for me to serve? Because she is somebody that we do sub sometimes. But she had been serving really well. We decided to go with it, and just really proud of her clutch serving in that match or that set. The other person I'd like to point out is just Piper Thomas. She was a workhorse for most of the match, but I think in that 5th game, she has not won at Missouri State. I think she took that very personally. Obviously, her last opportunity besides conference tournament, but regular season has not won at Missouri State, and just really took over and was a difference maker for us in that 5th set. So really proud of her effort. I thought Kendall Sorgi had a great match as well. So I think it was a great learning experience for a lot of reasons. I think we can come back and use that match later on in different situations, that you have the ability to come back when being down 14-11 and winning a set like that. And then it's really hard to believe that we have finished the first round. But I think the biggest part about it, yes, we are 9-0, but I think that these first 9 matches, we have learned a lot. We have learned a lot about things that we need to continue to be better at and do better at if we want to continue to have a run at that conference championship. And I think that's the biggest part of that growth along the way. I think most of it is just more consistency in a lot of things. But the second round, to me, is always a lot tougher because you have a lot more matches to scout. You have played that team, so there's a lot of things that go into that. Everybody knows everybody upside down, inside out, so a lot to prepare for. And as Jarek said, we start with Drake, our travel partner. And I think the challenges with Drake is they've lost a couple matches in the last couple weeks, but they have been missing 2 starters that have the potential to be back at any time. So another one of those matches, they're very different without their 2 starters, run a completely different offense, 5-1 versus a 6-2. So we have no idea what's going to be in front of us on Friday. So we will have to prepare for both situations. And then bringing Marquette on Sunday will be a huge challenge for us. I look at Marquette as definitely one of the top teams in the country. They are ranked 18th as of last week. The new poll comes out obviously today. But one of those teams that is big physical. They beat USC, 4-game thriller against BYU, who is ranked first in the country right now. But when you're talking about big and physical, they run a 6'2", so they have 3 attackers always in the front, and we're talking 6'6", 6'5", 6'3". So I think their shortest kid is maybe they have one at 5'11", but everybody else is well over 6 foot. So the other part about them is sometimes those bigger teams don't have as good as ball control, but they're also one of the best ball control teams that we've seen this year as well. So definitely a big challenge on Sunday, but our focus right now is on Drake and trying to figure out how we're going to continue this quest for a conference championship. Any questions?
What have you liked out of JJ Seahas and how she's really picked things up this month?
Yeah, and she is definitely another kid, I think, for the weekend, I would point out as a lot of growth. And JJ has just gotten more comfortable. We have her in the L1 spot, which is the top outside hitter spot because she's up there twice with the setter. And she is really, over the last couple of weeks, I think, I would say grown in her game just in terms of decision making. She was one of those kids early that made some young mistakes as she moved from the right side or to the left side from the right side last year. So a very different position. Definitely was feeling her way out through those first few weeks, but really has started feeling comfortable on the left side. And I always talk about the left side. You're always not getting the best situations to have an attack. You're getting all the out of system balls. So sometimes you're lucky enough to get an in system ball, but a lot of times you're not in the best situation. So she has really learned to, I think, actually not only make good decisions, but also be aggressive in those situations as well. And it's really paid off for her, and she's finding ways to score. Just a very high reach. She has a lot of potential as a pin.
You mentioned the need to be more consistent, Bobbi, going into the second rotation. So do you focus on getting better at some areas, or do you throw in the new wrinkles that you normally do?
Yeah, I think definitely a combination of both. And we do have to throw in some new things offensively. I do think that we have been at a pretty good place the last couple weeks with our offense. Maybe a set here and there that we could make better decisions, but I think our consistency has improved on our offensive side. Now it's being able to, like you said, throw in those new wrinkles. We can't be running the same offense that we've run all the first half of the conference because people will be very prepared for that. And I do feel good about that because we have done some of that in practices. We haven't used it a whole lot. I think we need to get more comfortable with it in practice a little bit more before we start executing some of that in a match.
With pretty much everyone already done with the first round of conference play, what stands out about the Valley as a whole, and what maybe has surprised you about how teams have played thus far?
Yeah, I think, we knew it was going to be crazy, but it's probably a little bit crazier than we thought. I just think when you look at trying to figure out who's going to be the top 6 teams, because we only take 6 teams to the conference tournament. And this is a year that, we wish we could take all 10 or, even 8. This would definitely be a year where that would be very legit just because of the situation. And, I couldn't tell you or predict at all who's going to be in that top 6. And usually you probably know the top 5, and it's that 6th spot that you're trying to figure out. But it's from top to bottom this year, and it makes it a lot of fun. And, there's every single team, even the teams that are at the bottom right now, like Southern, and I think Indiana State's the next. I mean, they have the capability of knocking anyone off at any time, too. So they will be factors in this as well.
How are you catching Drake this second time around? Are they playing well? Are they hot? Are they struggling? And just about the rematch, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, actually, obviously being the interstate match, it's huge, and that brings a whole nother level of competitiveness to that match. And I think, like I said, the hard part with Drake right now is in my opinion, they're playing well for what they've been dealt. Any of us that are missing 2 starters are going to struggle a little bit and try to find ways to still win. So I think they've done a really good job of completely changing their offense. It's a big difference between a 5-1 and a 6-2, and they weren't a team that was going in and out of that. They were straight up 6-2 and had to change that. So I think the biggest challenge for us is just, not knowing what they're going to be coming on the court. Are they going to be having their starters back and couple big production people in my mind as well. So I think they're doing well for what's happened. 5-4, they probably would rather have not been 5-4 right now, but a couple of those losses, like I said, I think they battled. They just weren't able to finish, and it'll be interesting to see what happens on Friday. I wish there was some way we could just it's a big difference on how we prepare for them, but I know our kids will do what we can and make those adjustments come Friday night.
It's not every year, Bobbi, that you're home for homecoming, so how do the festivities handle that? How much of that is
Yeah, I think, first of all, it's awesome to be home for homecoming. It's just such a special weekend for so many reasons. And just, not even just a volleyball alumni, but the alumni from all the athletes and not even athletes. It's just really fun to be a part of. I think the challenge is, I think, the Drake match, I'm not worried about with that just because, yes, we have some activities going on this week, but it's more what are we going to do on Saturday to be prepared for the next match. And I think that's a little bit of a challenge because normally if we're home and we're playing 2 matches, it's Friday and Saturday. So I think on Saturday what your pregame routine is, so you prepare that way. But, not having anything on Saturday night, we will have a short practice at some point on Saturday, but you don't have anything until that next day. How do we handle that as a team? How do we handle that as individual players? I think that's what we're a little bit more worried about. But I think we can have a combination of enjoying some things that are going on this weekend and still being ready to compete on both Friday and Sunday.
Did you put anybody this year as big and physical as this?
Probably not from top to bottom. We've played some big kids. I think there was one other team we had 6'6" or 6'5", but when you look at all 3, it was actually 6 because they have they're running that 6'2". All of them being that size, we haven't really done that, and and it's not sometimes. Big doesn't always mean good, but they're big and good, big and physical, and very a veteran team. They have a lot of kids that have played a lot of points, and but it should be a lot of fun. And we're really thankful for the opportunity because they definitely, a lot of teams won't play once conference starts. So we've been very fortunate that they have agreed to play. Right. We are not doing that this year, and I think we didn't. Our alumni is a little scarce this year. It's a struggle a little bit for us because we have a lot of alumni that coach, and then we had that reunion with the Hall of Fame, so a lot of people came back for that too. So we don't even have enough for alumni match. So I know, I know it is entertainment, that's for sure.